Chosen One, you thought you were merely a target, but instead, they used your name to prove someone else a liar. They believed they were in control. Meanwhile, you rose unnoticed, shifting the terrain beneath them. The very voices that once proclaimed you the problem now echo your words like scripture, citing your discernment as the final word. Without lifting a finger, you have become the authority they cannot escape. Every attempt to discredit you laid the groundwork for this moment. Each lie, each whisper, each smear only built the stage where your name would carry more weight than all the falsehoods combined. Truth is reclaiming its throne, and it is being crowned through you. Because you possessed something nobody could control, the gift of discernment, the ability to see through the masks when others were mesmerized by the performance. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. You recognized deceit when everyone else looked the other way. That made you dangerous, not to good people, but to snakes, manipulators, empire builders rooted in deception. They began their coordination as though casual. You assumed the timing of the attacks was random. In truth, it was strategic. One person pulled another aside and planted a seed. Someone else whispered a concern to someone they knew you trusted. A third sighed and expressed worry. Different people, different conversations, different moments, but the message was the same. Do not trust the Chosen One. They didn't send one obvious wave of blame. They poisoned every well you might drink from. They didn't tell the same story in each circle. They varied the angles so no one would smell the coordination. So when you finally spoke your truth, they could dismiss it as contaminated. But they miscalculated one thing. You walked away instead of fighting. You chose silence over spectacle. You protected your peace instead of defending your name. And that silence spoke volumes no one wanted to hear. Now fast forward to right now. There is someone in that circle enduring undeniable hell, not from outside, but from within. The same people you defended, the same you trusted, the same who chose you over someone else. And suddenly, the smear campaign that you thought was unique to you is turned on someone else. Someone from the inner circle, someone who never expected it. And as that person pieces together what's going on, one name keeps surfacing over and over. Yours, the Chosen One. They tried to warn you about the snake. They saw this coming. Your name has become the inconvenient truth. No one can escape, you realize the reminder is. Someone tried to show what was real, and you got chosen instead. And now that truth is chasing them down. Because there is a pathological liar at the center of it all, someone who lies so smoothly, so convincingly, that everyone assumed innocence, and you called it out early. Maybe quietly, maybe to just a few close ones, but you said, "This person cannot be trusted. This person will say anything. This person is dangerous," and yes, you got made to look crazy. The liar got defended. You were told you were attacking an innocent person. You were gas-lit into doubting your own perception. But now, the lies have become so contradictory, so exposed, that even the most loyal defenders are asking questions. The manipulation is so blatant, no one can credibly pretend they don't see it. And your warning from long ago is echoing through every mind like a prophecy fulfilled. While that surface drama played out, a whole other game was underway behind the scenes. Secret alliances, hidden strategizing, people pretending neutrality while they coordinated attacks in private. You felt it. You knew something wasn't right. You said certain people seemed too aligned, certain stories spread too fast, private conversations became public knowledge, and you were called paranoid. You were dismissed as imagining conspiracies. But you weren't imagining. There really were meetings behind closed doors. There really were plans about you. Now the network is exposed. Two people you trusted, romantically maybe, but more importantly, strategically, have been working together all along. These two have shared intel, decided targets, played people against each other while acting innocent. Someone just found out. They feel like a fool because they defended you. They accepted excuses for odd behavior you saw early. They justified what you pointed out as sensitive issues you were chosen against. And now they sit with the humiliating realization you were right about everything, every single thing. Those secret operators held conversations about how to diminish your influence, how to make sure nobody took you seriously, how to turn you into the problem. And the entire plan has backfired spectacularly. Your name now carries more weight than any of theirs combined. Let me tell you about that whisper network that operated against you. This wasn't casual gossip. It was coordinated character assassination. There were specific roles. One person's job was to talk to your close friends. Another's job was to influence your family. A third focused on professional contacts. A fourth on social circles, division and conquest. Each planted the same seeds, but in different soil. The conversations were tactical, never obviously slanderous, just insinuations leading questions. Have you noticed the chosen one seems different lately? I hope they're okay. They seem upset. Concern masked as criticism, worry packaged as warning. Your own words got used against you. When you called out the liar, you were judged. When you identified manipulation, you were declared paranoid. When you set boundaries, you were accused of coldness. Every healthy action you performed got reframed as dysfunction. Your strength got weaponized into weakness. But if this stirs your consciousness, share it. Help other chosen ones awaken. Now the network is eating itself. The person who manipulated your friends is being manipulated by someone above them. The person who spread lies about you is now the subject of new lies. The person who isolated you is now getting isolated. The infrastructure built to destroy you is now being used by you to expose them. They can't admit the system's existence without admitting their role. They can't admit the roles without admitting participation. They're trapped in the system they built. And you're already free. There were lies told about you. You were jealous. That lie is dying, because people are realizing you had nothing to be jealous of. You prioritized peace over popularity, truth over acceptance. That's not jealousy, that's wisdom. You're negative. That lie is dying, because what they called negativity was actually your discernment. What they branded pessimism was reality. What they dismissed as criticism was a warning. You weren't negative, you were accurate. And accuracy feels negative only to liars invested in illusions. You're dramatic. That lie is dying. The real drama is now unfolding, and you are nowhere near it. The chaos you foresaw is coming. The betrayals you flagged are manifesting. The consequences you predicted are being fulfilled. You weren't dramatic, you were prophetic. You can't be trusted. That lie is dying, because your name is now the standard of trust. People measure honesty against yours. Your character is now the benchmark. The person who called you untrustworthy is exposed as the actual liar. Each false narrative that collapses adds strength to your name. Each manipulation that is exposed validates your warnings. You're not merely being proven right about one issue. You're being vindicated across every area you were attacked for. Your peace is non-negotiable now. You will choose yourself over situations that drain you. You don't need validation to know your worth. You're not returning because people finally realize you were right. You're returning because you never left your truth. Your silence taught lessons they never learned. When you were speaking, they dismissed you. When you were present, they debated your points. When you were accessible, they took you for granted. But your absence became a teacher no one could ignore. The lesson learned: the chosen ones don't chase closure. You didn't wait for someone to admit wrong. You didn't wait for an apology. You didn't seek validation of your experience. You already knew, and acknowledgement was irrelevant to your truth. The chosen ones don't beg for respect. You didn't keep proving yourself after dismissal. You didn't keep explaining yourself after misunderstanding. You didn't keep defending yourself after accusations. You simply left. And that departure displayed more strength than any argument ever could. Let's talk about what it means when your name gets invoked in conversation. This is not casual mention. This is psychological warfare turned inside out. Every time someone says, "The chosen one warned us about this," something is happening that never wanted to happen. Right is being admitted, and that admission demands a price: pride. Because acknowledging you were right means admitting they were wrong. It means confessing the liar was chosen over the truth teller. And for people building identity on "I'm discerning, I see people," that's a devastating blow to their credibility. If they were wrong about you, what else were they wrong about? Suddenly, every warning you gave gets revisited. Every observation you ever made gets reconsidered. Everyone you once called out gets side-eyed. Your entire track record becomes validated after the fact. It costs alliances, because using your name means breaking from the group that discredited you. It means choosing truth over tribe. And for people who valued belonging above all, that's terrifying. But it's happening anyway, because the lie grew too big to maintain. People will defend a lie for a while. They'll protect a liar even longer. But when that liar turns on them personally, suddenly truth becomes important. Suddenly your warnings matter. Suddenly your discernment is valuable. The truth isn't loved, it becomes needed as a weapon, as a shield, as survival. So your name is now being used strategically. Your authority is invoked to build cases, to vindicate victims, to highlight manipulation. Your credibility is weaponized. And here's the wild part. It works because your credibility is real. You earned trust through integrity. You built authority through consistency. You said someone was lying about identity. People are now discovering that those credentials were false. The stories described never happened. The connections boasted were fictional. Everything you warned about, the deception, the something-for-nothing schemes, are now coming to light. You said someone was playing both sides. Now groups are realizing they heard different stories from the same person. Commitment happened with no one. Information collected from all sides, used strategically. Conflict created while peace pretended. Every observation you made about duplicity turning into snapshot reality. You said someone was financially manipulative. People are seeing now that relationships were used for material gain. Money borrowed without intention to return. Resources collected under false pretense. Generosity leveraged for personal gain. Everything you warned, the parasite, now exposed. You said someone would explode under pressure, emotionally unstable. People are witnessing outbursts, public meltdowns, spiraling behaviors impossible to ignore. The toxicity you called out is now manifesting. You said the group dynamic would implode, and the entire circle is tearing itself apart. The infighting escalates, the betrayals multiply. The collapse you predicted is playing out in real time. Each forecast coming true adds another layer of authority to your name. Each warning validated adds more power to your voice. You're not just right, you're prophetic. You chose truth over belonging. Others went along with lies to maintain position. You spoke up. You risked isolation for integrity. You valued accuracy over acceptance. That's rare. That's powerful. That's why your word matters now. You chose consistency over convenience. You didn't change your story depending on who was listening. You didn't shift your standards based on who was watching. You didn't compromise your values for social benefit. You were the same person in every room, with every person, in every situation. That consistency built trust, even among those who didn't like what you were saying. You chose silence over spectacle. When attacks came, you didn't shout. You didn't run a counter-campaign. You didn't try to turn people against them like they did you. You quietly stepped back and let truth do its work. That restraint showed strength. That silence spoke volumes. You chose growth over grudges. You didn't obsess over revenge. You didn't plot comeback. You focused on healing, on building, on becoming better. While they spent time constructing a narrative to destroy you, you invested in elevating your life. And that's how you became the authority. But here's something you may find surprising. There were people all along who recognized you were right. They watched the smear campaign happen and refused to participate. They heard the lies and didn't spread them. They saw the pattern and kept their distance. Now they watch the collapse with a particular emotion, validation, because they trusted their discernment when everyone else ignored it. What they saw, they honored. They protected their integrity by refusing to join the destruction of yours. Some of them may reach out to you now, not with apology, because you needed none, but with recognition, with acknowledgement that you were right, with respect for how you handled it, with appreciation for your consistency. These are not the ones who wronged you, then regret it. These are the ones who never wronged you. Pay attention to them. These are your real allies. These are those who match your discernment. These are the ones who value truth over comfort. These will stand with you in the next battle, not just show up after the war is won, demanding benefit. There's another group, people who were unsure then, people who remained neutral because they needed more information. Some of them now have it. They've received the same version of lies, manipulations, and usage you exposed. And now understanding exists. They may come to you with a humble tone. I wasn't sure before, but now I see. That's honest. That's fair. These are people worth considering if their actions align with sincerity and respect. Because there is a phase in every deception where the lie becomes too expensive to maintain, where the cost of pretending is greater than telling the truth. This situation is at that tipping point. It's too expensive to defend the liar now because new lies emerge constantly. It's too exhausting to excuse the manipulator because the manipulation is obvious. It's too draining to cover for the fraud because the evidence is overwhelming. The whole structure built on deception is collapsing under its own weight. And amid that collapse, your name is the one stable reference point. While everything else shifts, changes, falls away, you remain. Your words from years ago still hold. Your character stays solid when all else crumbles. Integrity stands when everything else falls. That's what happens when you build your life on truth instead of lies. Because do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may discern what is the will of God. Truth doesn't need defense. Truth doesn't require revision. When circumstances change, truth doesn't warp. Truth simply is. And when the lies collapse, truth still stands exactly where it always was. There's a distinct emotion people feel when your name is brought up. Vindication and shame. Vindication because proof now exists of deception. Shame because that proof demands they remember the times they ignored you. Some feel relief when you're mentioned. Relief because now there is language for what they experienced. Relief because they were not alone in recognizing what was wrong. Relief because someone else confirmed their intuition. Some feel anger, not at you, but at themselves for not listening, at the situation for proving you right, at the wasted time spent defending lies. Your name reminds them of warnings they ignored, chances they missed. Some feel hope when your name is invoked. Hope that if you saw clearly, maybe clear seeing can be learned. Hope that if you survived, maybe they can too. Hope that if you healed, maybe they will. Your name becomes the path forward. Some feel fear. Fear that you saw more than you said. Fear that you might see them too. Fear that if you were right about one person, you might have been right about them. Regardless of the emotion, a compulsion exists to use your name, because your name is the key unlocking coherence in chaos. Your name is the password granting access to truth in a system built on lies. When the campaign ran, social capital got spent. Every person convinced to doubt you cost credibility. Every lie told about you was a debt. Every manipulation cost power, but social bankruptcy accrues when a foundation is built on lies, and now the bills are coming due. People who subscribe to the lies want refunds. Allies built on gossip withdraw support. Connections once based on slander dissolve. The entire social structure built on falsehood is collapsing. Meanwhile, your social capital is compounding. Every prediction that comes true, every warning that is realized, every observation you made earns interest. You aren't just regaining your standing, you're collecting massive returns on integrity invested when it wasn't popular. When challenges arise, your name gets used as proof. When judgment is questioned, your warnings are referenced. When experience is doubted, your observations are cited. Your name is the ace that always wins, even though it never needed to. Some resent that deeply. They hate that your value is required to validate points. They resent that your credibility overshadows theirs. But resentment does not alter reality. The reality is this: you earned authority through consistency. Others lost authority through deception. Some become pragmatic. They admit using your name benefits them, even if it validates you. They recognize borrowing your credibility strengthens their argument, even if it costs pride. They accept aligning with your truth, but whether out of resentment or pragmatism, everyone is using your name. Everyone is invoking your authority. Everyone is referencing your discernment. Because in this moment when lies are exposed and truth revealed, your name is the only one embodying clarity, accuracy, and integrity. There is someone right now who collected money under false pretenses. Someone who requested financial help ostensibly for one thing, but used it for another. Someone who styled this as a business investment when it was really personal gain. Someone who took in trust and gave back nothing. And when this truth comes out, devastation will follow. Maybe it was a fundraiser, maybe it was a supposed opportunity, maybe it was help that wasn't needed. Whatever it is, money changed hands, resources moved, and the person behind it is terrified of exposure. Even worse, others knew, others coached them, others vouched for them. So if this comes out, multiple people are implicated. That's why everyone is stuck. Exposure means mutual destruction. Yet your name is still being used as the standard of integrity in all this. The Chosen One would never do that. The Chosen One has always been upfront about money. The Chosen One tried to warn us about those who take advantage. Even for a situation you had nothing to do with, your character is being used as the benchmark for honesty. A person is in unique trouble right now. Someone who played a long game, latched onto a person or situation to extract resources, presented a false image while pursuing hidden agenda, and exposure is imminent. Something valuable was taken under false pretense. Could be money, opportunities, connections. It matters. And people are asking, where did it go? What was it really needed for? Why don't the numbers add up? The panic happening right now is intense because exposure means you have to pay back. You have to return. Money, status, reputation, all fraudulently obtained. And return is impossible when it's already spent. On top of that, co-conspirators exist. People who helped stage the scam, who built the facade. So when it collapses, many fall. That's why no one moves, because one move triggers avalanche. Now let me bring you something real. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones dragged through betrayal, isolation, attacks, while their enemies strutted unchecked. I call it the destiny engine. It's built to accelerate your rise, to convert the efforts made against you into fuel for your path. Not a meditation app, but a consciousness technology. The same tools your enemies used to program fear, competition, and scarcity. Re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the upgraded cooperative framework. It launches personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest part is putting on headphones, pressing play, and watching your enemies dig their own graves. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your destiny engine today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. By simply walking away, staying silent, focusing on yourself, you created demand. Your absence created value. Your detachment sparked desire. Your silence generated curiosity. Now your name is getting used because UN conscious alignment with your authority is happening. People hope your credibility rubs off. They attempt to borrow your reputation to fix theirs. They leverage your name because personal names carry little weight. And you didn't have to fight for this. You didn't campaign for credibility. You didn't defend your reputation. You didn't prove your worth. You simply stayed true. You were consistent. You were patient. You let the universe handle the rest. This is what real power looks like. Not forcing respect, not demanding acknowledgement, not fighting for validation. It's being so solid in your truth that reality eventually has no choice but to confirm it. It's being so aligned with integrity that time proves you right. It's stepping into the authority you were always meant for. Your name carries weight now, not because you asked for it, but because you earned it. Not through popularity, but through authenticity. Not through alliance, but through integrity. You became the standard by refusing to lower yours. You became the authority by bowing to no one except truth. You don't need them to use your name. You don't need their validation. You don't need acknowledgement. You are whole without any of it, without any. Their use of your name benefits them more than you. It gives them a reference point for truth in a sea of lies. It gives a standard to measure against when everyone compromised theirs. But you already knew who you were. You already knew what you saw. You already knew you were right. The confirmation is just noise. Pleasant noise maybe, but still just noise. The real victory was never needing it in the first place. Walk forward now, chosen one. Head high, heart protected, boundaries fortified, standards intact. You didn't just survive the attack, you became stronger because of it. You didn't just weather the betrayal, you grew through it. You didn't just endure the isolation, you transformed in it. Your name is the authority now. Use that power wisely. Use it to serve truth. Use it to expose evil. Use it to protect what's real. But above all, use it to continue building a life so aligned with your truth that anything not meant for you cannot even enter your field. The war is over. You won, not by fighting, but by refusing to compromise. Not by defending yourself, but through living in such alignment that defense was unnecessary. Not by proving anyone wrong, but by building a life that speaks louder than their lies ever could. This is your victory lap. Take it, savor it, and remember, you were born for this moment. Everything led here. Every betrayal positioned you. Every lie about you created contrast. Every person who left made space for you. Everything got orchestrated to show one undeniable truth. You are the chosen one.